Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Bites, episode 18. My name is Andrew, and I am so thrilled that you've decided to join us today for this episode. If this is your first time tuning in, Tech Bites is a series of bite-sized tech talks for teens, and actually it's almost tech tutorials for teens as well. That's also an interactive session, so if you are tuning in live, you're obviously here on Twitch, and the great thing about being live is that we've got the ability to interact with you, answer questions, and our presenter is here to be able to answer those questions. So on our stream chat, which you'll see just over to probably the right hand side if you're watching the video, or underneath you if you're watching it on your phone, you'll see our stream chat. We've got our moderator, Flight Wizard, who's in there to help moderate questions and to send them through to myself. And we've got an amazing presentation today for you. And I'm just going to sort of let you know what today's presentation is all about. So I'm going to go over to here. So today's presentation, episode 18 of Tech Bites, Let's Go Phishing, diving into cybersecurity. So this is the first episode in our cybersecurity, hopefully, series that's going to be happening over the next couple of months. And I'm excited to introduce you to a brand new staff member with HighTechU, who's also our presenter for today, Sargun. And I'm not going to introduce her too much. I'm going to give her the opportunity to do that. But with all that being said, if you are tuning into this on Twitch, we hope that you will follow us. If you're tuning into this on YouTube, we hope that you'll subscribe to our channel. And of course, if you want more information about any of these Tech Bite streams, you can check us out in the bottom corner down there. You'll see our link, hightechu.ca, which is our website, so you can check it out there. But also, we'll be sharing some links in the chat a little bit later on. So with that said, I'm going to switch over to our presenter, Sargun, and I'm going to unmute her microphone, mute mine, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, Sargun, you are unmuted.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew. Hi, guys. Thank you for being here and thank you for having me on this session of Tech Bites. Today, we're going to be talking about phishing, how easy it is for the hackers to steal your personal data, and also to discuss some of the measures that we can take on our end to mitigate those risks. All right, so let's go phishing. So, a little bit about me. My name is Sargun, and I'm doing my master's in cybersecurity from University of Victoria. And currently, I'm working as a student facilitator at the HighTechU Academy. So, let's look at today's agenda. We are going to be learning about the phishing attacks, the types of phishing, and how the hackers can make use of these attacks to steal your personal and sensitive data, and what we can do to protect our data from happening. So, what is phishing? According to Wikipedia, this is the definition of phishing. So, phishing basically aims at stealing the user's personal and sensitive information, such as passwords, their social security number, their bank account details, for financial gain or revenge by posing as a genuine entity of some kind. And you must be wondering why phishing is pronounced the same as fishing, like someone fishing in a lake. The analogy comes from a person trying to fish by throwing a bait in the lake, in this case, the phishing email or a link or like a malicious link, and waiting for the fish, in this case, the user, to bite on that bait and successfully handing out your information to the hacker. So these are some of the examples of how genuine the phishing emails or the text messages can look. But there are some ways to distinguish the genuine ones from the spam ones, which we will be talking about in a minute. Okay. Um, in the past, there have been lots of phishing scams, and many organizations have fallen prey to these scams. And as a result, millions of dollars have been lost in these frauds. It not only poses a financial risk, it also robs the company of their reputation, and it also poses the risk of losing their credibility. And this was Operation Fish Fry. Operation Fish Fry became one of the most high profile cyber fraud phishing cases, which involved hackers in Egypt to fraudulently obtain around $1.5 million from US bank accounts by stealing hundreds of account holders' bank information for their financial gain. So, next, we're going to be talking about the types of phishing attacks. The first one being email phishing. In this type of phishing, the user gets an email from a recognized sender, like in this case, the bank account or their telephone service provider, like Fido or Shaw. And these emails are mostly generic, like it would say, Dear Equifax consumer. So so you have to be on the lookout for generic salutations, or sometimes they would also contain some grammatical or spelling errors. So be on the lookout for such signs. Next, we move on to spearfishing. Now, this is a bit more advanced and it targets a specific group of people. And these emails can look a bit threatening, requiring the user to click, oh, I'm sorry, requiring the user to click on a link and handing out immediate information to the hacker. Like in this screenshot over here, you can see that the email says, if you don't update your information within 72 hours, we'll limit what you can do with your account. So this kind of seems threatening and fishy. So this is one of the signs from which we can be on the lookout for. Next, we have veiling. So this mostly targets the C-level executives, so it is also called the CEO fraud, and it is only aimed at stealing the confidential information about the company, the shareholders, the employees' information, etc. Next, you might have received some text messages saying that you won a lottery or that you've been refunded some amount of money, urging the user to click on a link which would require them to sign into their financial institution. These malicious links disclose the user's credentials to the attackers, making it easy for them to steal the money from the user. This is similar to email phishing, except it's done using SMS. Next is wishing. It is also known as voice phishing, except in this case, you get a phone call from the hacker saying that they need your bank credentials for some sort of authentication, but it is mostly them calling to steal your login details or your bank account details. So we should never disclose your personal, like, user credentials or your social security number to an unknown caller. Okay, so now that we're aware about the potential risks that phishing poses to our sensitive data, let's talk about some of the measures that can be taken to minimize those risks on our end. So, the first and the foremost way that you can um, kind of identify that the link that has been sent to you is malicious or not is by hovering over the email. Like in this case, we have this link right here, which claims that it will redirect you to help desk, but Mostly in the genuine links, the domain name is before there is always a domain name in the link, but that's missing here. So it kind of seems fishy. So you should never click on URLs which you don't know where they'll redirect you to, because it can be kind of really dangerous. Next method to avoid phishing scandals is to enable your two-factor authentication, which basically requires a user to have something that they have, or that they know, like their username or password, and then something that they have, like their smartphone or their tablet or any other digital device, and on which they will receive a security code or some prompt of some kind requiring them to validate the login request. What this does is that even if a hacker somehow gets a hold of your data, of your user password, then he still won't be able to access your account because he won't have the smartphone on which the security code will be sent to. So that it's a really big step to kind of protect your data. Next method is updating your browser. You should always keep your browser up to date, because the popular browsers like Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, they're always releasing security patches to kind of patch the known vulnerabilities, which the hackers can take advantage of and steal your data. Next is installing an anti-phishing software or extensions. So like we have extensions for blocking the ads, or your Google Docs. We also have free anti-phishing extensions, and we should make use of those. Next is using firewalls. So firewalls basically block the malicious traffic to come into your computer, and it basically protects you from the intruders and the phishers who might be trying to steal the your cookies or your data. Which brings me to my last way of kind of keeping your information safe. That is, you should never ever give out your personal information to an unverified or an untrusted source, because you never know who it might be or what they could do with your data. And lastly, for this session, I would want you to think, why should you care about this? Well, first of all, you should care because it is your data which is at the risk of being stolen. And also because humans are the weakest link in the cyber world. And cyber criminals are getting smarter and more sophisticated in their ways of stealing the data. So we need to up our game and be safe out there. So, yeah, any questions?
So I have a question for you, Sargun. So has phishing become a bigger problem recently because everybody's going online? Like, will people likely have seen one of these and maybe not even known that it was a phishing email?
Yeah, phishing dates back to like 1980s. It is not a recent problem. It's only that all the devices and all our data is online now, and we have all our social media presence where you can find all kinds of information about a person. So that kind of gives the phishers an upper hand to kind of steal your data. And yeah, I'm sorry, I lost track of your question.
No, that's great. And then my other question is, what are kind of some steps you can take if you think that you have been hooked?
So the first and the foremost step would be to disable your account so that if it is your bank account and you have any suspicion that um, somebody has your user credentials, then you should immediately call up your bank and just let them know what happened, and they would block your accounts, freeze your accounts, and yeah, that's one of the steps that you can take. And also, you should keep on changing your passwords regularly, like within 90 days, you should never reuse your passwords for, like, if your password for Gmail and your suppose GitHub is the same, then you should change them, because if a hacker gets a hold of one of your passwords, he can hit and trial them for your other accounts as well.
And then in terms of that password stuff, do you have any recommendations for good ways to kind of make sure you know? Should you write it down in like a book that you like keep in your desk, or?
No, you should never write your passwords down. If you want to save, if you have the habit of forgetting your passwords, then there are all kinds of encryption softwares out there which can, convert your data into an encrypted form, which enables, which disables the hackers from kind of reading the password as it is. So you can encrypt that data even if you want to write that password down. And some of the best ways to create your password is um, to use a passphrase instead of a password, and never using your date of birth or your house number or your name in your password, because that that makes your password like really really predictable.
What's like an example of a passphrase that you would use? Like what does that mean? So like is that like the street that I was born on and that kind of stuff, or is it something different?
Yeah, something which only you would know. Suppose like what hospital were you born in, or um, you know something like that.
Okay. And then obviously you're a student right now studying cybersecurity. What are kind of some of the go-to places that you use to learn a little bit more about cybersecurity if there's students that are out there that are wanting to learn more about kind of the field?
So I usually go to Udemy for some of the courses out there, but there are also some free source courses like Code Academy or SANS Institute. It's a really good place to learn about the newest trends in cybersecurity, and to learn about the security patches that are available. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to stay on the line. Don't go anywhere, but I'm going to switch back over to my shiny face for a second. So thank you so much, Sargun. That was an amazing presentation and super relevant right now. I think the situation where we're all online so much, we're getting so much more email and messages and text messages that sometimes like things like this can skip through. So it's definitely something to keep in mind, and it's super super important. So if you have just jumped in on the tail end of this stream, you have been checking out Let's Go Phishing, diving into cybersecurity, which is the first of hopefully a series that we have on our cybersecurity topics, led by our awesome staff members that are studying cybersecurity here at the University of Victoria Faculty of Engineering. If you're tuning into this on YouTube, feel free to check out our live streams that we do over on Twitch. Our moderator, Flight Wizard, if you can put up the link in in the stream chat, and we'll also have a link down below if you're checking this out on YouTube for how to get into our Twitch live stream. And then on behalf of the whole HighTechU team, myself, Sargun, all of our sponsors such as Coast Capital Savings, the Faculty of Engineering, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that this was beneficial. I'm going to go just quickly back over to our presenter, Sargun, and I'm going to make you a little bit bigger, Sargun, just so that they can see you and you can wave to everybody. But thank you so much for today's session. It has been absolutely spectacular. And yeah, thank you so much. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Sargun. And again, thanks for tuning in to Tech Bytes episode 18. This has been HighTechU. And if you want more information, check us out at hightechu.ca.